Good evening. Welcome to Epiphany Lutheran Church in Richmond, Virginia. I'm Kevin Barger, the Director of Music Ministry, coming to you from my home studio this evening. And this is our Music Minute, where we're taking a look at the hymns we'll be using in worship tomorrow. And we're going to start and go in order today. We'll start with our gathering hymn, Gather Us In. This is a Marty Haugen hymn, and we've sung many of his, and we've talked about him before. This hymn was inspired by the hymn that we talked about last week, actually, What Is This Place? We sang Making Their Way text to the same tune as What Is This Place? But What Is This Place was a hymn that contained very concrete lyrics, and that came to us from Amsterdam. And Marty Haugen heard that, and really what he wanted to do was address an incarnational understanding of God's presence in a physical space where flesh and bone came together in welcome. And so this hymn painted lyrics that are paired. So it takes two things and puts them together and talks about that throughout the hymn. But it talks about that physical presence in God's space. And it was for an American hymn. So his inspiration came from that Dutch tune that we talked about last week. This is Gather Us In. All right. Our next hymn, our hymn of the day, will be When the Poor Ones. And this comes to us from the Spanish Roman Catholic hymnal. And it takes a text from Matthew 25. And the refrain refers and talks about the Emmaus walk. And the stanzas, you'll see, they focus on the poor giving away to others. And then the refrain comes in, and what it does is it says that when that happens, when the poor is giving away to the poor, or the poorer, then God is present with us along that way, on his way, on our way. When the poor ones. Such a great and fun Spanish hymn for us to sing. And tomorrow the handbells will be playing a very special arrangement of that. So we look forward to that. Our communion hymn, Taste and See. This was written in 1982 for the 25th anniversary of ordination of a pastor at St. Agnes Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was self-published at first from the composer, and then it was taken by GIA Publishers at the Chicago Choral Festival in 1984. And it's based on the first 10 verses of Psalm 34. And the composer is from none other than Mecklenburg, Virginia, and went to VCU. This is Taste and See. A favorite, I think, of many in the congregation. Our last song for tomorrow is We Know That Christ is Raised, and this came to us actually in the time of test tube babies. I think it was about 1967 where this originated, and it was set out to be a hymn that was illustrating the Christian doctrine of baptism in relation to the experiments with the test tube babies. And so while it was intended for a baptismal reference, it became a prominent Easter hymn as well. We Know That Christ is Raised. The tune is strong. It may be more well known. We sing When in Our Music God is Glorified, the tune Engelberg. And that tune was actually the original tune that was intended for All the Saints, that we sing to a different tune now. So funny how things all go around like that. This is We Know That Christ is Raised. takes a look at our hymns that we'll be using tomorrow in worship. We hope that you might join us in person at 8:30 or 11 in the sanctuary. And if you can't join us, you are always welcome to join us online on our YouTube channel at 11 o'clock, where it will be live streamed. Thanks again for joining me this evening. I hope you have a great evening. We'll talk again next week.